streak. Who would have thought that was possible when they were 0-3 and then 3-5? Now they've climbed all the way to 8-5, and they're 7th place in the AFC playoff standings. And they're at a point now where it's not, are they going to make the playoffs? It's, what are they going to do when they make it to the playoffs? Are they a Super Bowl contender? I think defense wins championships. You guys probably saw my conversation with Tony Dungy, Hall of Fame coach, and he's pretty confident in this team and DeMeco Ryans' leadership. He still sees better football ahead for C.J. Stroud, and I think that this whole operation can work. I want to make sure you guys are hearing me okay. I'm going to check, do a little sound check here. I was with the DJI mics, so optimistic. Can you hear me loud and clear? Let me know. What's up, optimistic? Like I said, guys, we're going to answer all your questions. We'll get into it all, including the new additions, Cody Schrader, running back with everything. Okay, great. Good to hear that. With them adding Cody Schrader off waivers from the Jaguars, former Mizzou standout, 8th in the Heisman balloting, and small school guy from Truman State that moved up in competition in Missouri and then has done a few things in the NFL. And then Naquan Jones, former starter for the Los Angeles Chargers and Tennessee Titans, added him off waivers. Jalen Mills was waived, and I kind of think Jalen might be coming back for the practice squad. We'll see. I think there's some more roster machinations on the way from Nick Caserio. And got some exciting news about a sponsor that's going to come up, so just 2 more to be revealed later on that, but really excited about the business I'll be working with. So we are open for business for anybody that is a loyal subscriber, follower, frequenter of the channel that is interested. It's not very tough to find me with direct messaging, all that kind of stuff on the different social channels I'm on, including Twitter and Instagram. So let me know, and you can join the fastest growing Texans channel. We're about 21,000, almost 400 people. So it's started on October 16th of last year. So it's been a lot of growth, and I think we're gonna just keep taking it higher and higher. Next goal is to get to 25,000 and 30,000. Who knows? Maybe it could even happen this season. So we'll see where it goes. Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Guys, I bet you have a lot of questions and things you want to get into. So I want to make sure that I give you all of your time and all the things that you're interested in. And, it's okay if you repeated someone's question. That happens. Not everybody joins at the same instant. So let me lean into. Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but there is a lot of dead cap for next year. And that is right. It's a close number. And yeah, they've mismanaged some things. That's true with regards to the Cam Robinsons and that one in particular. There's a lot of money pushed into the future with these voidable contracts and some of the restructures that Nick had to do just to acquire the roster that he did. But, he had a rough free agency. I'm not counting deals for Derek Stingley Jr. and Jalen Petrie. Those guys are on your team already. We're talking about the Cam Robinsons, the Laken Tomlinsons. Laken wasn't that expensive, but Cam they spent a little bit of money on and it wound up not working out. Yeah, they've got to do better. It's not like they're unaware. They don't know how to do it. They just keep pushing the credit card bill further and further down the road. And at some point, yes, it can affect your spending habits because you're in a situation where you maybe don't have as much money to devote to someone, or you're lowballing a lot of other guys. So we'll see. They've done a few small extensions. They were all $3 million or less, like for Brevin Jordan is the latest one. Jake Hansen, Tommy Togiai. Togiai looks like a good investment. But yeah, they've got to do a good job because, you've got some big decisions to make on Titus Howard, Ed Ingram, among the free agents, Tim Settle Jr. Got some choices to make. Yeah, the fact is, and I understand, and Nick didn't say at his press conference, the last one he had with us, that he was a high bidder on the top offensive line free agents. I can just say I don't believe people are lying to me because I checked with the agents to represent the guys like the Will Fries and other top ones that signed and like Patrick McCarry, different ones. And he wasn't in on that. James Daniels, Market, things like that. So he traded away a very expensive lineman, and then he tried to divide up that money between, the Cam Robinsons, et cetera. It didn't work out. But the fact is, they're still a winning program. But are they getting to that next level? This is a franchise that's never won in the divisional round, 0-6 all time. So taking that next step, maybe that's the difference between winning these bigger games, these higher stake games, and losing them. Right, just 2 healthy safeties with Miles Bryant, but they cut Jalen Mills, so he's no longer on the roster. So they had a healthy safety there, and now they don't have him. So yeah, I think there's some ways they can try to look at their elevations. They've done all the moves as far as, they're not going to bring any more outsiders tomorrow. So this is probably what they've got. Absolutely, Reed. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad you like the content. Glad all you guys like the content. It's, like I said, we have a little bit different style channel. I come at it from a background as a journalist and as a former player. That's my perspective. And you guys probably can tell I'm not a fan. That doesn't mean I'm against the team or anything like that. But my approach is to discuss this, in a newsy, topical manner. And that's what I'm after. It's not really about making fun of people. I can tell you this, because like Nick Caley. Oh, Nick Caley's trying his best. Nick Caley hasn't had a great first year, but it's very similar numbers to Bobby Slowick, who had a lot more experience than Nick. And the hope is that Nick will grow into the job. And you heard D'Amico on Monday, how it's not good enough what they're doing in the second half. I mean, that was a real cold streak. And if not for C.J. Stroud and his scrambling, his ability to improvise, then those plays like Jaden Higgins, those big-time plays, they don't happen. So I know that a lot of people have been critical of C.J. They look at his numbers. He's under a lot of duress. Chris Jones took over that football game. I mean, that was Ed Ingram. That probably cost Ed some money. That wasn't a big game by Ed. And he wasn't the only one that was having problems with him. But Arian Jerry didn't have a good game. I mean, it was a tough game at times for the offensive line. Like I said, guys, so just chime in with questions. And, of course, just like last time, there is if you want to hit the tip jar, super chat, all that kind of stuff, all available to you guys. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Helps me, helps my family, helps me with everything I'm doing, all that sort of thing. I grew up, someone's asked me if I have a football team that I like. I did grow up a Redskins fan. So that was like during the Hogs, Joe Theismann, Doug Williams, Mark Rippon era. So I'm dating myself a little bit there. Joe Gibbs, that was the team that I grew up. I grew up near their stadium. And so tickets were in the family, and it was a family tradition to go to their games. And my family still has tickets and goes to the games. I don't care who wins. I'm kind of just try to be really objective about it. But yeah, that was the team I grew up liking. And I've lived most of my life in D.C. and Baltimore until moving to Texas about 11 years back, and just love being here. Yeah, I saw clips. I didn't watch the whole broadcast. I was in the press box. I can't really have the TV on as much, but I did. Yeah, Chris, and I talked to Chris before the game. I was on the elevator with him and Mike Tirico, and I talked to Tony Dungy. So I talked to a lot of people from the NBC broadcast, and he is, he seems like a Mahomes guy, but and he's gotten dunked on a little bit. But Chris is a pretty good broadcaster too. I mean, he says some nice things about the Texans too. So it wasn't all pro Chiefs. I think generally, if you were to look at and break down Chris's comments over the years, he's just very positive about everybody. He's a former player. He doesn't rip these guys too hard. Right, with Naquan Jones, you're asking about the new defensive tackle. So Naquan is more of a nose tackle at 6'3", 313 pounds, but he has 6.5 career sacks. And he's someone that is going to be a rotational guy if they can get him up to speed. So he's got a lot of work to do, and I think that he will fit in. He was not playing a lot with the Chargers, but I think he could help the Texans, who are a little thin there on the defensive tackle rotation. Yeah, I mean, with running back, they added a guy. You probably saw Cody Schrader. Cody was acquired off waivers from the Jaguars. So Nick's been out looking for guys, looking for some new blood in the running back room. So what I would expect if Chubb is out with the rib injury, Nick Chubb, that it's Woody Marks, Dario Mawale, and we'll see, can they get the new guy ready? Right. I mean, Dari has made some big plays. I know that he, had the fumble and the peanut punch. Wow, not get the words out. Sound like Elmer Fudd. Peanut punch from Landman, not the show. Great show. I'm a Landman fan. On Paramount Plus. Anybody has a Paramount subscription, I think you'll like Landman. That's a free plug for Landman. I like it. I watched that one. I watched Tulsa King and Mayor of Kingstown. So I'm a big watcher of those shows. But Dare, he's a pretty clutch player. He's a smart player, and it's not like he's incapable. He just has some moments where you wish you had a little more explosive back in there. But he's a savvy player, and it didn't surprise me he was able to score a touchdown. If they could get high enough in the draft, and right now I don't think they're going to, I think Jeremiah Love would help them. I think it would help to have a bell cow running back like Jeremiah Love. He's outstanding. My understanding is that Joe is out for the year. Things can change, but I haven't heard of anything that led me to believe that he would be back for the playoffs. And I'll answer this now kind of preemptively because I get the question usually about 6-7 times. Tank Dell is not expected to play here this year, next year. They just don't seem to want to play Jahar. Yeah, I mean, Jahar's got a little bit of kick return skills, but they don't need that. He's kind of a third down back. He's smaller, and they just haven't needed him, and he hasn't played a lot of football. Yes, that's right. Optimistic. Optimistic is on it. Optimistic is also one of my members here. Easy to join. Appreciate everybody that does do that, and everybody that is supporting the channel. So yeah, it means a lot to me because you guys have a finite amount of time, like we all do, every day. So everybody that watches allows me to have higher view counts. That all is a big deal to me. So thanks. Gratitude. And I'm just waiting for the next question, and you guys know. Hey, thanks, Reed. Appreciate it. Reed Styles, member in the house. So one thing, guys, that will happen this week, you'll hear a lot about not taking the Cardinals lightly, how Jacoby Brissett has beaten them before when he's been playing for the Patriots and other teams. So yeah, you'll hear all of that. You'll hear about Walter Nolan and what a good defensive tackle he is. You'll hear about Marvin Harrison Jr. and lots of things. And it's not like they don't have any players. They do, but they're just not been a very good team. And so there's no Kyler Murray. It looks like Kyler's not long for the Cardinals, but this is a week, I believe, for the Texans to focus on themselves, focus on their own style of play, trying to fine-tune the offense. And I think those are some of the priorities for the week. The Creed Humphrey was furious. I don't know if you saw some of that. He was absolutely irate about that hit on Rashee Rice. No, I haven't heard of the Texans having any interest in Justin Simmons or Tyrann Mathieu. The way one person in the organization put it to me, this happens when you have a good defense. People want to be a part of it. It's a compliment. Doesn't mean that they would be someone that's viable for them. You want somebody that's been playing football. You don't want someone that's just coming in cold off of the street like that. Everyone, media and fans, tends to underrate the importance of having a training camp and being ready and what it takes to put on the pads and play again. You can't just roll out of bed, even if you've been lifting weights and running, and play football again. Right, with Jalen Noel, it is improving with the snap counts, and Christian Kirk hasn't been that productive. The running play for Noel, that was a That's not his fault. I blame that on Nick Caley entirely. Not a good play call at that moment. There were some head scratchers, for sure, that they did, and some bad clock management. I don't think it's all Caley, though. I think the clock management, sometimes these guys run the wrong play, and there have been other times where, D'Amico's involved, or there's some conservatism happening, or they're just milking the clock way too much. But that's another thing that they can get better at. And that's one of the things about football. You don't have to, obviously, there's no style points in this game, but they shouldn't apologize for the win, but they definitely need to play some better football. Yeah, that was ugly. And Jalen Noel was a tough kid, bore the brunt of that play. I agree. Yeah, Caley, it is underwhelming. That's a good way to put it. It's not like he's incompetent or anything like that. He's a really good guy. And I've heard outstanding things about his people skills and his willingness to experiment. He, of course, came up with the Cade Stover shove plays. That was good, the direct snap to Stover. He's had some good misdirection sometimes in the red zone, including the Jalen Noel touchdown, the Nico Collins touchdown. But, there's not enough of those plays. There need to be more plays like that, or simply just plays where you can set it up to get the football to Nico even when they're trying to double him. There's some bracket coverage on Nico at times. Yeah, I think there was a bit of that of Patrick Mahomes, telling Andy he wanted to go. He wanted to go for it. And you got to learn to, over the years, Andy's going to trust Patrick and his feel for the game because he's out there in the arena. He's out there competing. And Big Red took the brunt of it with taking the blame, raising his hand, saying, "Hey, that's my fault." But I think it's shared. But ultimately, it's Andy's call. Andy can countermand anything that maybe Patrick wants to do. In this case, it did not work, and now their playoff hopes are on life support. It's awesome. We get about 45 people in here, and anybody that's out there, I've shared it a couple times, that wants to join, more the merrier. I would say it was before the Aziz interception. It was, the big hit from Jalen Petrie. That was obviously a tone setter. That's what made me feel like, hey, they're playoff ready. But I feel like, for the past couple of weeks that the Texans are going to wind up with one of these wild card spots. I've been pretty consistent about that. I was never like, okay, they're dead. And 0-3, like everybody, you're worried about them. You're wondering, can they climb back in? But as the winning streak has gone on, I thought, well, if they're winning with Davis Mills, they can win even more and play better with CJ. And they have. There have been some really good throws by CJ. No, it is not. Justin Simmons is coming. That's not why. Jalen Mills was replaced on the roster by Naquan Jones. And, of course, Jalen could come back to the practice squad. They could do that. I think it's cool that Phillip Rivers playing. I don't know how much Phillip has left. I don't know if the Colts know, but I bet he can still throw good football. Turning point game for the team was the Jacksonville win. And the turning point play, Davis Mills, epic scramble to the left corner of the end zone, touchdown. That was it. We reported it all. Those aren't really, they're free agents in terms of being claimed off waivers. So defensive tackle Naquan Jones played for the Titans, played for Michigan State, collegiately, went undrafted, has played for Arizona, played for the Chargers, was waived by the Chargers. Now he's a Texan. Cody Schrader, the new running back, former Missouri player, transfer from Truman State, was 8th in the Heisman balloting his final year at Mizzou, and has played for Jacksonville and some other clubs. But yeah, he's not the biggest back. He does have some power. He's got some pretty good hands. I think he's a backup. Behind the scenes, yes, DeMeco Ryans does discipline players in loud and authoritative fashion. You just don't hear about it. And there's some things like, I'm not going to tell you everything I know on the channel, but I'll cite why he would check somebody. If he thinks somebody's being selfish or playing hero ball, or if a guy's chronically late, things like that, that really are big pet peeves for DeMeco. And he will get in someone's face or he'll get them off the roster if he doesn't like the way they're doing things. Yeah, they're not interested in Justin Simmons. A lot of people aren't interested in Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons is out of work. He would love to be playing. Going on the Kay Adams show and saying you want to play football or whatever, that means nothing. They do not take recommendations from Kay or anybody else. That ain't it, as they say. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I mean, he needs assistance, obviously. So, like, that's Gerard Johnson, Bill Lazor, Ben McDaniels. They've got to chime in. I'm sure they are, but he's got to be able to implement it. You can't just take a bunch of advice and all of a sudden snap your fingers and everything's better. You've got to be able to implement that advice and make it, useful. You ever heard anything about Gus Edwards getting any tryouts? I actually get the tryouts every day from a friend of mine with the NFL, and yeah, he hasn't had any workouts. Well, in hindsight, both Scruggs and Drew Scruggs and Blake Fisher, second-round picks, it's hard to justify the selections, especially trading up for Scruggs. And, they haven't done enough. The biggest proof in the pudding is that they're not starters. And they were supposed to be by now, and they're not. And that's, really an indictment of the evaluation they've made and of the player not making the progress that they'd hoped for. The clock management thing is weird. I did hear there have been some times where the player ran the wrong play. There have been some times where I think D'Amico Ryans and too many people are talking on the sidelines. There are other times where they're not getting the play in fast enough. So I'm hearing a lot of things with what's wrong with the clock management and alignment, assignment technique. Yeah, I could see them making the championship game. I think the offense, we're kind of running out of time for the offense to be good enough, right, to make a run that you want to. But I could see them winning a couple of playoff games. There is no dominant team in the AFC. Why couldn't they beat Denver and or New England or Jacksonville? The answer is they could. Certainly capable of beating the Steelers. Already beat the Ravens. Obviously it wasn't, the full scale Ravens, but yeah, I could see it happening. I would say it's the explosion of the defense. It's the comfortability factor, the guys getting used to playing together. Talent, resources, maturation of players. Kamar Lassiter is a better player this year than he was last year. Jalen Petrie playing with a lot of confidence. The investments in the Daniil Hunters and the Jalen Petries and the Azeez Al-Shires, spending a lot of money. What's up, PCX? I know the money on the Jordan extension is under $3 million. I don't know if they're going to fire the offensive coordinator. I think a lot of it's going to depend. How does he finish the season? That chapter of the story is not written yet. I mean, who is the next OC then? Who do you get? Who's the guy? I mean, there's a lot of bad OCs. Kevin Patullo is not a very good OC for the Eagles. They upped him from promoting from within. He wasn't good. If they wanted Gerard Johnson or Bill Lazor to be the OC, they would have been the OC already. They had chances to hire those guys. No, I think Woody's playing. Woody finished the game. I think it's Nick Chubb that might miss the game. That's a question from PCX. You're welcome, Denzel. I appreciate you. Yeah, thanks for saying that. I try my best. I think they would bring back Titus. He wants to come back, and he's had an excellent season. I like him as a right tackle. I think that's better. Trent Brown, I know he wants to come back, so does Ed Ingram. Trent, maybe he comes back as the swing tackle. What about having him back as a backup? As the backup left tackle, right tackle. I think that Trent's got a little bit left in the tank. I wouldn't mind seeing them do that. You want to rest Woody Marks? I don't know. They got to win these games. I'm not sure who would you put out there at running back? Because it looks like Nick Chubb could be out with a rib injury. So if you don't have Chubb and you don't have, Woody Marks, where you're talking about Cody Schrader, Darga Mawale. I don't like that at all. Woody looks like he's always, these injuries, I know he's being dramatic, but he's in some pain, and he shakes it off and gets back out there. I think I don't know so much about whether it's left guard or right guard. I mean, they could bring back Ingram. I think left guard is obviously, in play if Titus goes back to right tackle. Ingram wants to come back. I was told Jimmy Ward is out until the playoffs. I also wonder if there's some PR issue. Do they want Jimmy, even though he was acquitted, he's still facing litigation. The civil lawsuit filed by Tony Busby, same alleged victim. We'll see what happens. It's practice, that stuff, but obviously they're not practicing well enough. That's a good point about Nico in that play. Yeah, I didn't think there was a chance there. It was a misfire from CJ. CJ was about 50% passer, actually. 15 for 31 is just under 50%. So, yeah, he was 0 for 0 in the third quarter. Yeah, but Chris Jones is pretty elite. I think that Ed, other than this game, has been pretty good. I really felt like Chris Jones decided to play. He took over. Jones is dominant. Jones can do that to a lot of people. I wouldn't rule out Fatukasi for maybe the playoffs, but right now we're not hearing about anything imminent and pending for him to be designated for a return. Time management goes back to the Bill O'Brien era. I've been here, I haven't been here before that. I wasn't here for Gary Kubiak, but it feels like it's been a long time since the Texans were good at clock management. They like Jake. He's under a rookie deal. I would think that they consider it acceptable. That's one of those ones where I don't think it's like an emergency. I think they can get by with Andrews. I don't think center is the most important position either. I don't think they're getting Tyler Linderbaum. I don't think he's getting out of Baltimore. He's going to cost a ton. It's going to be interesting, guys. I'm going to see what they do against these Cardinals, how they do against the Raiders. Yeah, Tommy T, 10 tackles, a sack, 2 quarterback hits, 1 year, $3.3 million extension, which I reported exclusively before the season, and he earned it. And look what he's done. DeMeco Ryans has the right nickname for him. He calls him Mr. Consistent. What's up, Glenn? I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, it's a fun season, especially watching the defense, watching the kind of football they're playing. That's inspired ball. And Chris Jones owned those guys. That was nasty. He's done that to a lot of people. This is a possible future Hall of Fame selection. Same thing happened with Jeffrey Simmons. Sometimes these defensive linemen are just so special and they're hard to block, and you just got to figure out a way to minimize the damage. Wants to know about the strategy for renewing Will Anderson Jr., C.J. Stroud, and Nico. Well, Nico was a 3-year deal, and it was a max value of $75 million. That's not going to be the price point for either Will or CJ playing those premium positions. So for Will, it may wind up being like Xavier Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson. I got the wrong Hutchinson. I know they are, obviously, but just say Xavier so often. Aiden Hutchinson, the Michigan man for the Lions. That kind of money. I would punt on the CJ deal. I would see, can he have a more consistent season? And you might want to pay more later. One way is to look at it is, would he accept a contract that's, a little less right now with some incentives built in. There's ways to be creative about it. It's really too early to know about whether they'd be inclined to trade up or down. It depends how many holes they have after free agency. I think we got to wait and see on that one. 313 Bucky. Well, this is the best defense that we've covered. We haven't, seen a lot of teams where they had a very complete defense or offense. I would say this is their best chance in years because they have one, superpower, that's defense. And then they have an offense that takes pretty good care of the football. I've covered teams that won in this manner, including the Baltimore Ravens. So they had Trent Dilfer as their quarterback, winning a Super Bowl, and Jamal Lewis at running back. That was their difference. So they had a great running back. He was a rookie then. And then they, of course, had historically great defense with Ray Lewis and company. He wants to know the backstory exterminated about the Alpha Aaron sound bit that Cody and Landry play. So I was in the press conference and I was trying to actually share something on social, which you probably noticed that we're tweeting, live tweeting, and sometimes posting YouTube videos. Immediately, we're trying to get the clicks and the engagement about that. So Landry thought it was an alpha move that my YouTube went off, and I guess CJ heard it, and it was me talking about my YouTube channel and saying, "Hey, this is Aaron." I think it was a New England video from Foxborough, from Gillette Stadium, so they think that's funny. But the sound that I play, I did that for them as a favor. Probably should not have granted the favor because they've worn it out to death. There was a time, man, where they were talking about me for like 7-8 minutes or something. But that's fine. It's like free advertising for my channel. But seriously, we're all friends. We all get along. We like to joke on each other a little bit in the press room. And, those guys have great channels. And so, yeah, definitely check their channels out, too. We just have different styles. My style's a bit different than their style, and that's okay. I would draft for offense. I wouldn't necessarily think you have to draft safety. I think Jalen Reed might be the safety next year. They gave up nothing for that running. It's the running backs from the Jaguars, Owen Schrader, just a waiver claim. And then the other one was Naquan Jones from the Chargers. Miles Bryant is healthy, so I'm not sure. You're asking about Foley Fatukasi. Which Bryant are we talking about? Miles is healthy. Not hearing about Foley coming back right now. Yeah, it's not a great free agent group. I mean, they might want to be picky and prioritize their own players, maybe prioritize the draft. Well, a few behind. I'm going to try to catch up here, guys, on some questions. I think they need to rethink their whole strategy about clock management and about how they play with the lead. It's ultra conservative. And it's like when they play a prevent on defense. Only thing the prevent prevents, as they say, is victory. Mixon is not coming back, correct. His tweet wasn't even refuted by him. And by the way, guys, Ian Rappaport jumped on top of the pile and acted like he made the tackle. Anybody want to, on the channel, chime in. Did I tell you guys in October that he was out for the year? Did I say it again several times? He had procedures with his foot that have made it impossible right now for him to come back. I've heard about lack of blood flow. I've heard about a lot of problems with his foot. I was told it was, quote, tough and complicated by someone that is working with these athletes. And that's per sources anonymously, but I trust what I'm told. I don't know who Al Sharaft is. Oh, how much can I bench? I haven't maxed in a while. It was in college, it was 365, and then it was like 315 in my adulthood. I can do 225 about 8 to 10 times, so I just kind of rep out a little bit. I'm not as strong or as healthy as I used to be back in the day. You probably heard me complain about my back a couple times. I've got herniated discs, I got sciatica. But the chiropractor and Scotch tape keep me rolling, and sometimes some icy hot. And it's one of the reasons sometimes you might see me in a tracksuit because I'm just, I've got a lot of that stuff on. Yeah, hey, we're all getting older, right? It happens. Nick Chubb is the big injury concern coming out of the week. No one long term. I don't think anyone's out for the year. Yeah, that too. That was part of the alpha thing, like that I mic'd up a guy. He thought that was aggressive. I don't know. I want good sound for KPRC and for you guys. So that's why I use these. And in the past, I didn't think my sound was as good. And a couple people finally were telling me, hey man, you should really work on that. You should make an investment to improve your sound. So that's one of the things I would say about me doing YouTube and be a little more public about talking and be a little more open about, stories is, just, I think things that I should be doing for my career and for you guys to give you more information. Unsung hero. Great question. Dalton Schultz. He's played through injury. He's played hurt. And I would put one more ahead of him, Titus Howard, who has started at 3 different line positions and played all of them well. Titus. No, I don't think Mixon will be coming back next year. I bet they move on in the offseason. I played linebacker at St. John's High School in Washington, D.C. In the Catholic League. We won a championship. We beat DeMatha Catholic 29-13. So we won the title. We were nationally ranked. And then I was an invited walk-on at East Carolina University, where I also played linebacker. My position coach one year was Chuck Pagano, the future Colts coach. And no, I did not start. And it's a Division 1A program, but I was holding my own out there. Had 6 tackles in the spring game one year. It's my little college highlight. 53 years old. Harrison Bryant, no, I haven't heard about Harrison Bryant coming back. Creed Humphrey is the one that thinks that should be a fine. It was a clean hit. I see those guys hit guys, when they're standing around the pile, Trey Smith and Creed. I think he's just upset that his player got rocked. No, I didn't do that that's just, he's known as Stone Cold. These guys maybe don't pay as much attention to the league as I do. I can tell you about all the teams. They call him Stone Cold in KC. That's his Twitter handle, all that stuff. And I didn't tag him. Not at all. CJ just didn't know the nickname, and I think he thought I was, as they say, glazing the opponent, like those dudes are stone cold, that kind of thing. It was funny. With Mixon, they have no more guaranteed money. They can cut him without owing him anything else, except for the dead money from the original signing bonus. They don't owe him that, but the proration, the dead money. I don't think Chubb would go on IR for a rib injury. So no, I don't think anybody's headed to IR. Brevin Jordan will not play this year. He tore his patellar tendon. The move on Brevin is just to have him back for next season. They're just planning ahead to have him come to training camp. CJ would not hold out. The rules make it where you can't really do a hold out. You can do a hold in. I don't think that him or David Mulligetta would do that at the quarterback position. Chris Jones will be a great Texan, but he'll retire a Chief. And he'll be in the Hall of Fame one day. Yeah, I didn't agree with Mitch Schwartz either. I did see his social post. I think he's just been a Chiefs homer. The contact was shoulder to shoulder. His head snapped back because of the shoulder hit. It's similar to the way C.J. Stroud was hit by the Broncos corner, and that was also a clean hit, and he was not fined. Yeah, Chris, I saw that. I quoted Chris. He thought that C.J. did a great job. He did. He played tough. He played a good football game. The offensive line, I felt in the scheme, in the clock management, failed him a little bit. When I do the videos, he wants to know, how do I do it off the top of my head, or do I have a prompt going on behind the camera? I have my laptop, and so sometimes you'll see me look down. I don't have a script. I just have certain things like depth charts for me to look at, or some talking points, things I want to get through. I don't have like an outline. A lot of it is off the top of my head and just me using my memory and sort of the flow of the conversation. A couple times I felt like I was bouncing around too much. I needed to, hammer out, finish a point, then go to the next. But, talking by yourself for 20, 30 minutes, no, it's not easy, but it's something I've trained myself to do. And to do it, you have to have a lot of knowledge of your topic and of all the things you're talking about. Otherwise, you're not, going to be very organic, not very authentic with it. That's a big deal for me. I'm not just out here reading. Occasionally, I have to look at stuff to be able to remember things, remember names. Depth charts really do jog my memory a lot because I make sure that I've gone over guys, especially in training camp when I'm trying to evaluate, sorry about that, evaluate practice performance. I just want to make sure I don't forget people and some plays that might have jumped out to me. Helps to drink iced tea too. I need caffeine. Caffeine all day. Keeps me going. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a tone setter, a Jalen Petrie stick like that. Big time. I don't always have a formal outline. More often than I do not have an outline. I just have like things in front of me, maybe topics or some things that I may have written about to just kind of jog my memory. Jalen Mills would be going to the practice squad, and he is subject to waivers, so he can go to another team. Mitch Schwartz is actually a good dude, so is Jeff. He's loyal to his Chiefs. They have that option. Actually, it's not wrong that Tremont can play, that you have some flexibility with nickel. No, I don't think they would trade Davis Mills. They've been told before that he's not available. Other teams have made inquiries. He's not available. I don't think that D'Amico wants to have the reputation of one-and-done offensive coordinators. I think they'll just keep working with him. I think they'll throw a lot of resources at the offense to try to help him. The closest thing to a consultant would be Bill Lazor, the senior offensive assistant. He was an offensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Chicago Bears. He's the most experienced offensive coach on the staff. Question if I'll ever cover another team. My plan is not to leave Houston. My plan is to stay here and keep covering the Texans for the remainder of my career. I said it here tonight. I had some opportunities. When me and the Houston Chronicle didn't see eye to eye anymore, I was contacted by the Buffalo News. I could have moved to Buffalo to cover the Bills. It's a great football town. My wife is from Houston, from the suburbs of Cypress, and we love it here. Live in River Oaks. Didn't want to leave. And I had a lot of confidence myself, as did my wife and my family, that something great would come along and that I would have a different role. So now I'm on television and writing for a great news station at KPRC, working with Randy McElboy and Nick Mantis, and I love it. I think it's a great fit for me. I'm the one picking which articles I want to do. And working with those guys on the television hits, I think it's a lot of fun for me. The vibe at NRG, we haven't been back in the building since last Friday, but yeah, in general, now that they're on this winning streak, it's a real fun, positive vibe. The guys are feeling good about themselves, feeling a lot of confidence. This is another question on Nick Caley. I don't think they will fire him. Yeah, he was recommended by Nick Caserio. It doesn't mean that he would be let go. D'Amico had to sign off on that. Thanks, Rhino. Appreciate that. Liking you. Yeah, Rhino on the board. That's my first tip of the night. Anybody else wants to join in? We got about 15, 20 more minutes, so appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for the compliment about the answers and the content. I'm glad you like the channel. Like I said, I have my own little style, and I just tend to be kind of straightforward. I like to be a straight shooter. I like to get to the point, give you guys the information, and then we can move on to the next thing. What you guys are looking for is real information, real transparency, and if I don't have the answer, I'll just tell you I don't know or I'm not sure. But I try to give you the best possible information I have through my reporting with sources and being in the building and using my access to give you guys what you want to have. And so I'm the conduit to you, the fans. I answered this a little earlier. They think it was an alpha move, like a boss type move. That's from Landry mostly. He's the one that started it. I mic'd up one of the players. You see this DJI mic with the little green light on it. That's so I can have better, clearer sound. It cancels out the background noise, sometimes music and things like that. And that's why I mic'd up a player. He thought that was like kind of like me taking charge. And then another time my phone went off in the press conference, and it was you could hear my voice talking, and CJ thought it was funny. Jimmy is out to the playoffs. He had 2 foot surgeries. It takes time, and he's had a lot of legal issues. That's part of it too. I think they need another running back to go with Woody Marks. I don't think Nick Chubb is it. I think they should move on from Chubb, but Woody is a keeper. Appreciate it, Olebo. Why do it if you're not trying to be the best, right? Everybody wants to be number one. And guess what? Full of cliches tonight. Pressure of trying to be number one and always trying to do your best, it's a privilege. It's not just stress. It's responsibility. It's fun. I enjoy it. Sometimes I enjoy the stress of it all. I try to have fun with it, guys. And we get time for lots more questions, and like I said, we got somebody on the board. If you guys want to join in, or any other people I know that are watching and want to kick in, I won't say no. But it feels so good to say yes. A couple programming notes for you guys tomorrow. Practice 12:45 Central. So we'll have practice report. Don't expect to see Nick Chubb out there. Could be a resting day for. Oh, thanks a lot, D-Rum. That's awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. D-Rum on the board. That's awesome. To continue, we'll have press conferences with D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud. We'll have open locker room, so we'll have all that content for you. And I'll do a video from NRG, come up with some topics, see what's worth discussing. Yeah, I thought I'd get a question about the trap game. I don't think they would take these guys lightly. I don't think the Texans are, at a point where they should be cocky about anything. In my opinion, you've got to keep the pedal to the metal. They're beyond excited about this defense. The McNair family, D'Amico Ryans, Nick. I don't talk to Nick that often, but yeah, they're happy about it. They're proud of this defense. I don't know why they don't throw the ball more to Woody. That has not been answered very well by Nick. It's been a little bit evasive, I believe, in those questions. Yeah, I know. I think they got to, make a evaluation of Caley, but I'd be surprised if he's not back. I just tend to have some tact with how I answer how I ask my questions. I don't necessarily feel like you get a great answer out of being rude. So, I might ask, Nikhil, what happened in the third quarter? What are you doing about trying to fix that? That would be, my question. I've asked a variation of that question before. Oh, with Owen, Cody Schrader. Yeah, Cody Schrader. It might help him a little bit because he knows some things. But, yeah. There is an overlap there. My understanding is CJ likes Caley. Those guys are good. I agree with it. I think the Colts are on life support. They've lost Daniel Jones. What they have left is Jonathan Taylor. They have a good but not great defense. It's a good defense. They've lost Sauce Gardner. They've got a great head coach, I believe, a very smart coach in Shane Steichen. They're having some problems right now. Tank Dell, yes, I'm told he is back for 2026. Watch for that. I found out on Thursday, guys were saying he would play. On Friday, they said he's definitely playing. And I was confident in it, and that's why I reported it. Also, again, before Ian Rappaport, I had it out there that he was playing. Motor, I believe he still plays for the New York Giants. I don't think they would just do it 1 year. I think they would do a couple more years. They would, for cap purposes, you'd want to maybe go at least as long as 3-4 years. You could really win the South, but I mean the Jaguars, their schedule is not impossible. They have a chance. I do think CJ will be here a while. I think that he's got to keep getting better. But yeah, I think he has a good opportunity, a long runway to be better. Yeah, no, I don't like every single reporter. Yeah, I'm not an Ian fan. He's a little rat. I'm not an Ian fan. Yeah. Tommy Townsend's contract is expiring. There was some talk about initiating contract talks earlier in training camp. Right now, I don't know if they will entertain that. I think that that's kind of a tough call. Are you going forward with him or are you moving on? I don't think the Cardinals are a great team. I think this is a win. I think they'll beat the Raiders too. Great order wants to know if the Texans would draft O-line, D-line, safety, running back, linebacker. I'd probably put running back and O-line like 1A, and the others can go after that, maybe D-tackle. We've got to see what to do in free agency. You never know until free agency's over what are they going to do in the draft. Ian talked some trash about me, and it got back to me. He called an agent small time for giving me a LeGarrette Blount scoop. The agent read the text to me, said that that if he wanted to be big time, he would give him the story, not me the story. So yeah, he started with me, but I don't back down from anything. And we got on the phone one time, and I told him, I said, hey, if you see me, go the other way. I got ears everywhere. Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, I think it is Saturday night. I booked my travel with that in mind, that it's going to be on Saturday. A lot of people don't like Ian. It's not just me. There's agents, there's people from teams. Yeah, he's not a real popular guy. I have a lot more respect for Schefter. Best draft pick this year. You know, they've had a lot out of Woody Marks. I think he's probably played better football, right, if you had to evaluate him, than Ursery. Wow, thank you. $10. That's awesome. I haven't heard about Matt having real big head coaching buzz behind him. I think he'll be back next year. Thank you, Big HTX, on the board. That is awesome. Thank you. Yeah, me and Schefter are cool. Actually, me and Scheft, we talked on the phone, we talked in person. I like Adam. I think he does a great job. But I've beaten him. He's beaten me. It's like a kind of we compete, and I don't back down from anybody. You mean local, national, whatever, I'm going to bring it. And they know that, all of them. But yeah, me and Shefty are cool. I think Shefty is a class act, absolutely. There's a lot of guys that work in national media I have a lot of respect for, including some guys in the NFL network. But sometimes they don't like to credit when I'm first. Kamari Lassiter is the latest example. That just happened. There have been lots of others. Dalton Schultz, that he would play when he was listed as questionable. You remember my high school nickname, yeah. The one I've watched the most is the Notre Dame running back. That would be number one on my board. Sometimes we have different sources. I don't always know who their source is. Sometimes I suspect certain people of being the source, and sometimes it's not them, or it might be more than one person. I tend to be more, I have reach with other teams. I have sources in the building. I have sources with agents. I have a lot of sources. I would go with Paramount just because those are my shows I like, but Netflix does have a better library. So probably Netflix, just if you want a variety. You got to kind of go with the volume. But there's some programs that I can't get elsewhere that I like on Paramount, so I watch it. Yeah, CJ did pass the 10,000 yard mark. That was good. Landry said, I stole the turtle? No. I call it like a great kazoo, like Jetsons. That's where I got that from. The Guardian. Landry was calling him Toad. I think it's like Super Mario Brothers. I didn't ask Landry where he got that bit from. I thought it was funny. Yeah, Tulsa King, great show. CJ played well enough. He played winning football. D'Amico and I get along well. It's we don't hang out together, so I guess I would call it a professional relationship. But yeah, we're good. I don't think sometimes they like, as an organization, if I have a news story, but I think they know that I'm not doing that to hurt the organization or something like that. I'm just doing my job. I think they respect that I'm professional and I'm objective. Can't pay everybody on defense. I mean, some of these guys, you can't keep every single person, but I think they will try to keep Kamari and Kalen Bullock for sure. I know Jeremy. I've been on Jeremy's show before. Yeah, Jeremy's a good guy. He has a good channel. Yeah, I don't know him in person. I've only spoken to him on the phone and, messages and stuff like that. Yeah, and he's sometimes shared some of my content, so I appreciate that. Yeah, nice guy. Great question. Stroud or Herbert? Different type of offenses. So, maybe CJ fit this one. I think Herbert's pretty much scheme specific in some ways and flexible in others. Oh, yeah, Cody. Cody's the one that came up with Toad. I don't know. I don't know the genesis. I don't watch every single thing they do. I watch a lot of it. I do enjoy their programs. Like I said before, there's no beefs or anything. Yeah, we're all good, and I like those guys' channels. I watch them. Yeah, I mean, this bad schedule, this last place schedule has really helped the Patriots. But so has Vrabel's leadership and the toughness he's instilling. I can't say what sources I have, just saying I have sources. Not just trust me, bro. Nah. They got to get to the Super Bowl. They got to come back. Damian is not coming back. Damian is on the Chiefs, on their practice squad. He wasn't even elevated for this game, so he didn't get to play. Would have been cool to watch. I heard those are things that are fun at Spanky's, but that's their thing, I'm kind of building my own thing. I don't want to just bite off of them or whatever, but yeah, what they're doing is cool. Everybody's got their own channels and their own things. So everybody's, got media stuff now. Got time for a couple more, guys. I'm going to stay till about an hour and 5 minutes. We're at about 59 and a half minutes now. I think Buffalo, it's a good one to call. They're tough there, right? But how are they going to block for Josh Allen? I mean, that was nasty. The 8-sack game. They got a chance. The chance to get to 9 games. I haven't had a lot of creative nickname ideas. The Swarm one is obviously, kind of obvious, but I think there's better ones out there. I have not put any thought into it. So, no, I don't have like a great idea for a nickname. Most of the great defenses, like the 85 Bears, didn't really have one. Monsters of the Midway is something that went a lot further back than that. The 2000 Baltimore Ravens did not have a nickname. Legion of Boom's one of the best nicknames for a defense ever. Probably the best. Yeah, you got to, I mean, it's a long way ahead, but they got to keep winning. Yes, sir. I will, Alvarez. Appreciate you. If you guys got a couple more questions, I'll hang. If not, we'll wrap. Thanks to everyone that came in through tonight. We got 53 people in here. We got 29 likes. We got some top fans. We got some tips. It's been good. Yep. Yeah, exactly. We've done an hour. I just want to make sure there's any last questions. I want to give everybody a chance if somebody hasn't got a chance to ask a question. So if you want, line them up right now, and I'll try to knock them out here before I go. Yeah, you're right. I probably should have more lives. A lot of times I'm more comfortable making videos, but I'm getting more into the lives, and I'm glad we can at least have this weekly one. I would be there for every step of the way if they get to the Super Bowl, and I would write a ton of articles. I am 53 years old. Thanks for asking. Let's see if there's a couple more questions besides my age or the alpha stuff and the different things that we've gone through. We've kind of been all over the place, right? Well, yeah, Herbert's had a very prolific career. He has not been good in the playoffs, though. CJ's been better in the playoffs. If Woody goes down and Chubb's hurt, then it's probably Dario Mawale. That's like break glass in case of emergency option. Great pass rushing tandem in Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, but did not have the games I thought they would have against the Chiefs, against their depleted offensive line. Herbert's very good. I thought he got too much flack for the interview he didn't want to do. I blame the PR staff. They should set that up. Joe has been in the building at times. I have not seen him, though, but I know he's been there. Wish you could join, go to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's tough. Yeah, it's very expensive to go to the Bay Area. I think JJ's lost too much weight. He'd have to bulk up again to be able to play again. All right, guys, I think I'm going to run. Appreciate everybody that came through and all the great questions. I look forward to us doing this again soon. All right, guys, thanks so much and good night. Yeah, CJ needs to stay healthy for sure. Thanks for the 100s. Appreciate you guys.